What was your first like entrepreneurial venture?
I did not want to take orders from someone. If you have kids, if they have something going on and it's important, it's like a milestone for them, you should be able to be like, hey, I'll be there. You shouldn't have to ask someone for permission.
You're not gonna convince them unless you have results. So I mean, what's your take on that?
You had to convince your mom to show her like, hey, look, this is actually possible. My mom was like, damn, you made in one day what I make in a month.
I always say when the pain of your current situation outweighs the fear of change and potential failure, you jump.
100%, right? Most people want all these goals, but they don't want to do the work of getting all these goals. Money is like a slut. It goes to whoever it pays it the most attention, right? Like if you don't pay attention to money, if you're not thinking about money, money's gonna go find someone that's giving it more attention.
Money is a perfect servant, but a horrible master, but it has to be one.
A lot of people think like, oh, money is not everything, greed is bad. If you don't make money, you are selfish. Let's say you were to die. What do you want the headline to be? Vincent Fisher has died. He is known for All right, what's up, guys? We're here with Vincent. We're doing part 2 of the podcast. What's up, bro? How you been?
Yes, sir, my man.
Dude, long time no see, bro. How long has it been? Like what?
Bro, it's been
a year?
I don't know, a year now?
I think
months,
so.
Year?
I think so, bro. We got a lot of feedback from the podcast. So, dude, I wanted to ask you, right? Because we had a deep conversation on our first podcast. Now I want to go even deeper, bro. Right? So for those of you that don't know his story or don't know my story, I recommend you watching the first podcast. Okay, I want to cover like the intense shit, bro. I want you to imagine as if, let's say, there's hundreds of thousands of 20-year-olds. And they're looking to like, they're lost. They're trying to make money. They see the nice cars. By the way, congratulations. It's a fucking fire car, bro. They see everything and they're like, I want to get there, but I don't know how. My parents are telling me to go to school. What would you say to someone that's like our age?
You know, that's a funny question because a lot of people tell me like, Vince, how do I convince my mom, my dad to take a different route? And if they haven't taken that route, you're not going to convince them, right? So like I made a comedic story. My mom visited Miami like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, Mom, how did I convince you to drop out of high school? And she's like, well, Vincent, I don't think you ever did. Like I couldn't force you to. My mom threatened to kick me out. She cried. But at the end of the day, the only way you're going to convince your parents there's another way is by showing them. Right? So when my mom was out here in Miami 2 weeks ago, she's like, Vincent, how was business today? I was like, it was good. She's like, how much did you make? I was like, I think 107,000 a day, 70,000 yesterday. And she was like, wow. And you know, for everybody trying to convince their parents, their mom, their friends, you're not going to convince them unless you have results. So I mean, what's your take on that?
Dude, I completely agree with you, right? I remember I used to be 17 years old, try to convince my mom, like, hey, Mom, look at all these people online. They can do it. I can do it. And she was like, it's a scam. It doesn't work. It's not going to happen. And I remember it wasn't until I actually made something of myself and I moved down to Miami and started making a little bit of money that my mom was like, damn, you made in one day what I make in a month. And then her whole like thinking completely switched and she was like, damn, maybe that is possible. Funny, ironically, because I used to grow up and my mom was always pushing me on go to college, go to college, go to college. My brother's a lawyer. And now I have a little brother who's 9 years old, named Sebastian, and she doesn't push him at all. Like now she understands it. She's like, oh, if he's not doing good in school, it's okay. Because we showed that there's another way that's not the traditional going to college, doing this, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I was always ambitious growing up, right? But I got a part-time job because I thought to get a job, that's how you get rich, that's how you're successful. So I get a job at this pizza place. It was Uncle Sam's. I worked there for 3 days. Why? Bro, they had me busting tables, cleaning dishes. They were short-staffed. I had the genuine belief that the harder I worked and the more I scrubbed dishes, I'd get a raise. But that wasn't the case, right? It was the exact same pay no matter how much effort and action I put in. And I was like, this is a dying path, right? Like a lot of people aren't successful because they don't think of what's the best vehicle that's going to get me to financial success. So once I saw a job wasn't doing that, you know, I tried entrepreneurship. I was selling sneakers. I tried the drop shipping, day trading, reselling. And, you know, the big breakthrough moment for me was seeing that everybody that had these different business models, they had some type of info or coaching business. And I was like, even if they are making money from that vehicle, it looks to me like the best vehicle is info, right? Because the margins are 100%. And I thought, like, what am I good at? Like, I don't have any real skill sets. I like working out. I like fitness. And I had people asking, yo, what's the routine? Bro, and I started selling like low ticket PDFs at the time, bro. I remember my first $20 sale. It was like the breakthrough for me where I was like, oh shit, I can pretty much print money out of thin air. And I was doing that for a little bit, but it was a side hustle, right? I was making like $2,000 to $5,000 a month. And I remember asking myself, like, is this actually what's going to get me rich, or is it a side hustle? I didn't have a me growing up, right? There was nobody making millions online with fitness. And I saw one dude, bald dude, pop up, Brandon Carter. I did a podcast with him a few days ago. And he had an ad, and he's like, I'll teach you how to sell high ticket. I took my system and I invested into him with all the profit that I made from that business. And that was really a breakthrough moment for me where I started making like 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, and so on. But what was your first like entrepreneurial venture?
Dude, for me, it was, I always freaking knew that I did not want to take orders from someone, right? Because I remember, okay, my dad, he got in a car accident when I was very, very little, right? He broke his leg into 4 pieces and he had to go and, flee to Peru to get surgery. And also we didn't want to get deported at the time, right? And I remember that hit me so hard because it took, my mom had to get 3 jobs just to cover the bills. And I remember I would be like, hey, Mom, I'm graduating, or I have this event at school. And then she would be like, oh, okay, let me ask my boss if I can take off. Let me ask my boss if I can do this. And I was like, damn, that's not how it should be. If you have kids, and she loved me and I love her, if you have kids, you should be able, if they have something going on and it's important, it's like a milestone for them, you should be able to be like, hey, I'll be there, right? You shouldn't have to ask someone for permission. You shouldn't have to ask someone, like in school, right? In school, what do they program you to? Raise your hand when you got to go to the bathroom, raise your hand to speak. That comes from making employees, right? They want to program you so when a boss hires you, you're a good boy and you know how to raise your hand, not speak when you're not spoken to. And I just think the whole system is messed up. And that's why I love online, bro. When I remember when I saw something online, I saw Iman, right? Like your Brandon Carter was my Iman and my Grant Cardone. Dude, I remember and I was like, dude, this guy, he's 17, 18 years old. He's making more money than my entire family. How? Because he's doing something that the traditional system tells them not to do, right? If you want to live like the 1%, you can't do what 99% of people tell you to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always say if you want unreasonable results, you can't do reasonable things. So like, I think it was around the time I was in school, like I wasn't doing any of my homework. I'd copy homework. I'd pay kids to do it. And it's funny because like, bro, like these kids were like straight A students. I'd give them the worksheet. They'd knock it out. And I started to realize that the schooling system, you getting good grades was, like you said, a measure of you being a perfect bot, right? Like a perfect hire. And I think I saw something from, I think it was Brad Lee. And he was like, you know how many degrees I got? I got this degree, that degree, that degree. They're like, Brad Lee, you didn't finish high school. He's like, no, they work for me. And I went, why would I get a degree when I can hire one? And then you start to realize the schooling system creates perfect workers. If you're an entrepreneur, those workers are actually perfect servants for your mission, right? They say you're either building your own dreams or you get hired to build somebody else's. So for me, like, I think there has to be an extreme amount of discomfort, right? You have to hate where you're at. Like I couldn't sit behind a desk my entire life and call another man boss, like you said. I'd rather off myself than do that. But the reason I see most men that don't jump is comfort, whether they want to admit it or not, right? Yeah. They may be hungry for 5 seconds, but when the opportunity presents itself, they fold, right? I always say when the pain of your current situation outweighs the fear of change and potential failure, you jump.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys just say they want it, right? And that's a
100%, dude. And you know the funniest thing I see, and I'm sure you see this with your students too, everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to be their own boss. Everyone wants to provide for their moms, drive a nice car, travel wherever they want. Yeah. Just like everyone wants to go to heaven. But most people don't realize that in order to go to heaven, you have to be willing to die, right? Most people want all these goals, but they don't want to do the work that comes with getting all these goals.
Yeah.
Right? So what are your thoughts when it comes to people that are saying, well, maybe money isn't for me, right? Because you and I, we both have a good relationship with money. We fucking love money, right?
Yeah.
When people say, you know what, Vincent, I don't need that much. I'm okay with, making 50 grand a year. I'm okay with 100 grand a year, Vincent. Why should I make more money? What would you say to those people?
I would say that those people are selfish, right? The reason that I valued money is because life's like a sandwich. No matter which way you flip it, the bread comes first. So I knew that I had to make money because I had a mom who was a single mother that raised me and my 2 brothers after my dad passed. And it wasn't about me. Right? It wasn't about what I wanted. The weakest men think about what they want. Temporary gratification, to go to the next party, the next club, fuck a few hoes, and their mom is still breaking her back and calling another man boss. For me, it was selfless. That was why I had zero fear when I was taking risks and opportunities. Like, I remember my first mentor, he was 27 years old. He had a Rolls Royce Phantom. And he's like, Vince, come to LA, come check out the life. I was like, Mom, I'm going to go to LA. And she's like, Vincent, be careful. You don't know this dude, etc. And I was like, nah, I have to do it, right? Like when I told my mom I'd retire her, I knew that meant not listening to her. And that's exactly what it was, right? A lot of people think that they can listen to their parents, their friends, and end up rich when they aren't rich, right? Albert Einstein labeled the definition of insanity doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I hear so many guys that are like, well, Vince, I don't want to take risks because the way my brain works, I like to sit down and think about things. And I go, where has that mental pattern gotten you? Has it gotten you the results you want in life?
Yeah.
If you continue that mental pattern, do you think anything's going to change? Right? So it starts with change. Like you said, it's a death of who you are. It's an ego death.
Yeah.
Right? For me, like I killed the version of me that was 16 years old, jacking off, playing video games. And it comes with sacrifice, right? So I'd say that's the biggest thing I like.
And this is what I see a lot of people go wrong, dude. A lot of people want to make a lot of money, but they don't even have a good relationship with money. I like to say money's like a girl, right? Money's like a slut. It goes to whoever it pays it the most attention, right? Like if you don't pay attention to money, if you're not thinking about money, if you're not waking up and your head's like, shit, how can I make more money? Dude, money's going to go find someone that's giving it more attention, right? Because at the end of the day, bro, money is everything. A lot of people think like, oh, money is not everything. Greed is bad. Don't make a lot of money. Don't be selfish. And you're 100% right, bro. You have to make money. If you don't make money, you are selfish. Because if you don't make money, something happens to your mom, something happens to your dad, something happens at any point in your life and you're screwed. The reason my dad had to go and leave my family and my brother and I was because he couldn't afford a good lawyer. If he could afford a good lawyer, he could have probably stayed, won the case, and we would have been a happy family. But because of the money, what I realize is, bro, you don't make the decisions, right? A lot of people are watching this. They don't make the decisions. Money makes the decisions for them, right? Like, for example, if you have somewhere that you want to go, right, and then you justify it, like you're like, oh, you know what, I don't really need to go there. It's not a necessity. I don't have to go there. You're justifying it why you shouldn't make any more money. And then guess what money's going to do, bro? Money's going to find someone else like you or me that fucking love money and we'll take care of money, right? Why? Because we probably spend money better than someone else.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite quote, I think it was by Earl Nightingale or somebody along those lines. It said, money is a perfect servant, but a horrible master. But it has to be one. If you don't make money your servant, it's going to be your master. You're going to say, oh, the guys with nice cars online, they're focused on money, but you work 12 hours a day to make minimum wage for money. A lot of people work harder for money than we do. But what people don't understand is the hard part is not taking the steps required to actually become financially free. Like I put my head down for 2 to 3 years, and I went from the bus stop to making millions of dollars for 2 to 3 years. Now I can live the rest of my life completely free. But a lot of guys go, oh, well, I don't want to do that hard stuff, right? I'd rather just work a 9 to 5 the rest of my life. Those are the laziest people. I think it was Tate that said it. Like if somebody's not successful, they're either lazy, arrogant, or stupid. A lot of people are all three. You know what I mean? Like number one, they're lazy. They don't want to take any type of action because it doesn't benefit them in the moment. Number two, I mean, they're arrogant, right? They'll hear a millionaire give them advice like, hey, bro, this is what you should be doing. And they'll go, oh, well, bro, actually, no, my brain's this way. And then number three, stupid is just like some guys don't think, right? They'll do the exact same thing over and over again, not analyzing why'd this go wrong, why'd this work out, what are successful people doing? And you don't have to reinvent the wheel with success, right? You have to find somebody that has a blueprint that works. Learn from them, bro.
That's such a good point. One of my biggest mentors, his name is Brandon Dawson, sold his company for 151 million, 77 times EBITDA. He told me this one thing that changed my life. He said, you know what, Tabare? Success, don't reinvent it. It's already there. Just master these 3 M's. Model, mimic, master. Find someone that is in the model doing what you want to do. Copy them. Absolutely. Just steal what they're doing, and then you will eventually master it, right? And then he told me another thing, Tabare, you don't want to be known as a copycat. So here's another formula, right? He likes to think in systems and frameworks. And he said, after you do model, mimic, master, now you got to memorize, right? You got to memorize what they're doing. Then you got to internalize it, figure out why they're doing it, what's the system behind it, and then you personalize it. And that's what equals success. Most people get stuck. They just model, but they never actually internalize. They never think about, okay, but what makes Vincent buy a $3.5 million car? Like, why would he buy that? A lot of people, right, especially rich old white guys, they see you buy that. They're like, oh, that's stupid, right? But they don't know that there's another type of investing, right? There's not just the traditional investing, invest in real estate in the S&P 500, right? For our business, you can invest in another way. So, right, so talk about a story, because I know you told me something about this car that is a great investment.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious because anybody that's older that could be significantly richer than me cannot give me advice on what to do at 22 if they weren't rich at 22. That's it. Right? I have a different ball game. My goal is not the real estate game and climb, etc. Now, real estate, I look at it like a tax and wealth shelter, but like, bro, I have one mission. And that's info and software as a service. I have nothing else. Like, bro, I want you to recap before I continue though. You said your mentor had a 77
times EBITDA. He sold his company for 77 times what it was worth.
The yearly revenue?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, bro.
It was a company called the Audigy Group. It sold hearing aids.
Bro, but that's the pattern that I'm seeing of modern day wealth creation, right? The most successful people say it's real estate. Well, a lot of it's businesses. A lot of people are building and selling businesses. So like when I bought this car, I mean, I've done this my entire entrepreneurship journey. I'd make moves that would force me to never go back and never accept average. When I dropped out of high school, it wasn't just because I couldn't finish high school. It was because I didn't want in the back of my mind the option of I could always get a job and I could always go to school. And that's a backup there because if I had a plan B, plan A wouldn't be as efficient.
Right.
When I bought this car, it was kind of like, yeah, my goal is not to just save X amount every single month. I want to build a business and exit it. And that's it. Right. So I've been working on a software now. I think I've dumped like 30,000 into it so far. We got another 50,000 or so by the time of completion.
What does the software do?
And it's like, think about trainer eyes, right? I don't even want to say that because now there's eyes on me, but I'm making an AI online coaching software where people can actually AI talk to their clients. They can make AI routines based on the photos people upload, AI meal plans, and it's all automated to where it's just a coaching software, right? And it's pretty efficient, but that's my number one plan. Like when I first entered the gym industry, bro, first thing you do is like, where do I build my program? I'm in the iPhone notes writing shit down. I want something for beginners to have that makes that 10 times more efficient. But we'll talk about the car again, bro. There's a lot of people that could buy a $3.5 million car. There's not a lot of people that have the balls to buy a $3.5 million car. I've seen a lot of rich people that don't have the self-image to go, yeah, 3.5 M's, yeah, that's what I drive around in. Even like $500,000, that's what I drive around in. There's different types of rich people. Some rich people are frugal, some rich people are more extravagant, but that's not the factor that makes them successful. What makes every successful person, I guess, kill it is when I'm buying something, I look at the return on investment. If I buy a car like this for $3.5 million, in the first week of me uncovering it, my company does the revenue to pay for the car, down payment, whatever the monthly is, and it's marketing, right? Like I always say your best investment, if you're just starting out, you're trying to go from zero to hero, is yourself and your personal brand. Now, let's say somebody has $250,000 and you have two options. Number one, let's say you invested in the S&P 500. Right, you put the $250,000 in, you're going to get 10% that year if it does good, $25,000 that year. Let's say you invest in a real estate. You buy $1 million building, it appreciates 6%, you get the cash flow too. You know what a better investment is? Buy a Lambo if you have info. Because you can make double the amount of the car just by having the social proof of being at a different tier. When I bought my first supercar, people looked at me different, bro. A lot of people say money doesn't matter, bro. People look at you different because nobody was listening to me when I had nothing to show. When I had cash in an account, but I wasn't showing anything, nobody listened. I bought my first I-8, bro. And I didn't plan to switch to consulting. I wanted to do fitness, but so many people asked me like, bro, Vince, how'd you make money with fitness? Vince, how do I do it? I'm like, bro, you got to get in shape first, right? And my questions changed. I was like, okay, I'm going to take the consulting route. When I had the I-8, people said, oh, that's not a real supercar, etc. Move to Miami, I get the Lambo. The Lambo, they're like, damn, there's still some people like rental, etc., but people look at you different. And they go, this guy knows something, right? It's like a living manifestation that this dude, whatever he's doing works. Right. I knew hypercar was a step above that. Could I have still made money without that? Yeah. But like I said, it's a self-image thing. Like it takes a certain type of guy, it takes a certain type of self-belief to go, yeah, that car right there, that's nothing to me. It's not about the money in the account, right? But it's about the mentality. That ain't shit as a mentality. If you want to make $10,000 a month, you got to believe $10,000 a month, that ain't shit. You want to make $100,000 a month, same thing. $1 million a month, same exact thing. And that's where we're floating right now.
Right. And most people don't understand that, right? Most people will see, oh, he's starting another business. He's trying to do this and that. But they don't know that all your companies, bro, just like mine, are vertically integrated, right? So if someone pays you here, they're going to pay you here as well, right? Like, for example, for me, I have over 250 Airbnb properties. I also have an info product company, and I also have a software company. All of three directly work with each other, right? Just like your companies. And most people think, oh, well, if I start this company and then I go into another business and then I go into another business, I'm going to be distracted and it's not going to work and then I'm going to lose it all. And that's because they have that limiting factor, that limiting belief of like, damn, they can't do it all. Dude, we're human beings, bro. We can do anything, bro. We live in a floating freaking rock. And I wanted to touch on that as well because you mentioned something very important, that you took care of your mom, right? You had to convince your mom. Should we let it pass? The plane?
It's a little plane passing by.
No, it's good. Okay. So, bro, you had to convince your mom to show her, like, hey, look, this is actually possible, dude. Without you showing her that, she would not have believed it, right? So, dude, I want to ask you something about death, bro. Let's say you were to die, right, tomorrow. What do you want the headline to be? Vincent Fisher has died. He is known for blank.
You know, the funniest thing, I think if I died, even my haters would start to go, you know, this dude has a good impact. And I feel like my life purpose is helping younger men that don't have male role models. My dad passed away when I was like 8. I didn't have any male guidance. And my purpose and duty on the earth is to realign men and go, hey, listen, if you don't want to take this route of being a robot, there's another way. And with that other way, whether you take plan A or plan B, what I push is take care of yourself and become financially successful. But first, do that by serving others, take care of family after that, and just leave an overall good impact. I think the people that don't spend the money are the most selfish. Because I never had a me growing up, like I said. I had one mentor who's 27 with a Rolls Royce. And when he showed that to me, and he's like, hey, Vince, get in the car, let's ride around LA. Bro, that like gave me a new meaning in life. Like I went from wanting to kill myself and off myself to like, oh shit, there's another way. I started with like being a conspiracy theorist. I was like, fuck. I thought about Freemasons, lizard people and shit. That was my escape because I didn't want to live the current reality I had. And then it was financial freedom. So I guess if there was one thing I were to be remembered by, I guess it's just that transformational aspect that no matter where you're starting out, it's not about where you are, but if you call your shots and you're certain on where you want to be, the world makes way for the man that knows where he's going. That's the biggest thing. But I want to talk about death a little bit as this car is passing by, but it's funny because I had a health scare. It was like the end of last year, beginning of this year. I'm on vacation. I'm going to the Bahamas. I'm doing nice things. We're on Pig Islands and shit, bro. I used the restroom and there's like fucking blood in my urine, bro. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? You know, but my first thought wasn't fear. Like I'm so aligned that I was like, okay, why is this happening? Is it time to go? Is it not? What's going on? And when I had that near death moment, or not near death, but you get what I mean, where it's like, okay, blood shouldn't be coming from here. If I were to go out today, I wouldn't regret anything. I enjoyed my money. I had money left over, right? Even now, I mean, now I've set up after that scare to where, you know, the life insurance family gets 8 figures if you pass. But bro, it's funny because I want to ask the men watching this, if you were to die right now, would you leave with regret? Or would you leave like, damn, I lived it up on this GTA server? You know what I mean? But what do you want to be remembered by?
Dude, I think that most people die when they're 70, 80, right? But that's not even the case because I honestly do believe that most people die when they're 22, 23, but they don't make it official until they're 80, right? Because most people die the moment they stop improving, the moment they stop like seeing like, oh, well, they can do it, but I can't do it, right? It's like that happened, but it will never happen for me. It's so funny. I jump on so many calls and they tell me, well, Tabare, it's easy for you to invest this amount of money because you have money. And I'm like, dude, you're in a better spot than I was when I was your age. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I remember when I first moved down to Miami, dude, I had $100 to my name. I found a lady on Craigslist and I was like, hey, let me rent out a room, right? Let me pay you a month later once I get my first paycheck, right? Most people at 17 years of age, they would be fucking scared shitless. They would be like, well, what am I going to do? What if my tire pops? Dude, I didn't even have a freaking car. I used to walk to work, right? My suit was a horrible suit, dude. I used to buy a suit from, a Goodwill, right? I used to buy a suit from Goodwill, bro. It didn't match. It was looking horrible, but I showed up. And I think that's the most important thing that a lot of people don't do, bro, is they show up, right? If you are able to show up and be present and be like, hey, look, I want more, right? I want to learn. I want to be coachable. I want to get fucking rich. Most people, a lot of people that are freaking young, they're scared to say, I want to be rich. They're scared to say to their friends, dude, I want to be fucking rich. I want to live in Miami. I want to drive a Lambo. Why? Because of what their friends are going to say, right? And I think opinions are like assholes, right? Like assholes. Everyone has one, right? So stop caring what other people say because at the end of the day, dude, maybe it's happened to you. I can't tell you how many times I've had people that were quote unquote my friends. They ended up talking shit, being bullies, hating on me. Oh, bro, that business stuff is never going to work out. You're not cut out for that, bro. Because I used to come from a small town, Fort Myers, Florida. And dude, fast forward a couple years later, like, oh, can I have a job? Can you teach me? Can I do this? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I can teach you, right? Here, let's jump on a Zoom call. Oh. But then I make them pay. And I make them pay triple. I don't make them pay the retail price because I'm like, bro, you got to pay triple. You've already made the mistake. Now you got to freaking own up to it. Now you got to work extra. Because I know just because, and dude, I used to do magic when I was a kid, right? And I think that has a big impact in my life because I always wanted to do the impossible, right? Maybe this is to you too, but dude, no one in my family has done what I've been able to do, right? And I always think about that, and not in a selfish way, but in like a proud way. I'm like, damn, I'm showing my cousins who had no perspective of money, no perspective of building businesses at this age. Now I'm showing them that, hey, look, it is possible. I remember I went to Argentina. I did a conference in front of 500 people, spoke on stage. Dude, I can't tell you how many of them came up to me and they were like, yo, Tabare, thank you so much. Thank you for teaching me about money. I used to think money was bad. I used to think that money wasn't meant for me. I used to think money was meant for white guys, right? Because I'm Peruvian. So a lot of people, you always say, oh, well, if you want to make money, well, you have to be born in USA. Dude, and I think it's the biggest BS. USA is a freaking phenomenal country. It gives you opportunities, but at the end of the day, bro, you can make money anywhere, right? Wherever there's an opportunity, dude, you just got to seize it. Most people, they see an opportunity. What do they say? Oh, that's a scam. Oh, that's a rental. Oh, that's that. Oh, that's that. But if they just shut up for a minute and they're like, damn, if he can do it, that means that I can do it. If he gets a cut, he bleeds, I bleed. So that's what's possible. And I always look back to that because when I was doing magic, I used to think about like, look, these people that I'm doing a magic trick to, they think it's impossible. They think that I'm doing this magical thing, but in reality, it's a basic sleight of hand. I know what I'm doing, right? Most people now, they see us being successful and they immediately think, oh, well, that's magic. Well, that's not possible. If you just take that limitation away and you realize that, dude, it is possible, use that as inspiration, use that as motivation, I guarantee everyone that's watching, their lives will change. Like your life will change if you just lock in, put in the work and keep on going because you will fail. I'm sure you failed. I failed so many times. I remember one of my biggest mentors, Grant Cardone, I forgot to update one of the stats on the TV. He walked in with the camera crew and he was like, hey, who's responsible for this? And I was scared shitless, bro. I was 18 years old. He was like a god figure to me. I was like, dude, that's fucking Grant, right? And then I was scared to say something. And I was like, you know what? I did it. And he looked at me and he, bro, when he looks at you, like my whole fucking body just fucking fell. I was like, damn. And he was like, how would you like it if I stopped paying you? And then he just walked away. And ever since that moment, guess what I did? I was like, fuck, I'm going to make sure the TVs are on 24/7 because I never want to feel like I'm failing people. And when you're not making money, when you're working at Chuck E. Cheese, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever, you know internally you are failing people. You are failing your loved ones. You are failing your friends. You are failing your future generations, right? Your family members, right? And I think about that all the time, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing, bro. I think, the male suicide rate is an all-time high. Just to go back to the topic of death. I think when you combine having to work a 9 to 5 the rest of your life with there's no other way and every other way is a scam, I think that's a perfect formula to wanting to kill yourself, right? Like a lot of people think depression is some like mental illness. Mm-hmm. No, if I lived the exact same lives of these people that were depressed, I would want to kill myself too. Mm-hmm. Right? But there's another side. And what we're trying to get these people to understand is the only way to the other side is financial freedom, whether it's coaching, real estate, no matter what the case may be. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that ties back into the question that you asked, bro. I want to save men. Yeah. Right? Because I remember wanting to off myself. Yeah. And there was no other way outside of that. So, yeah.
I remember crying in your room.
Bro, when I had to stay in school when I was a kid, probably. But it was just anger, right? Like if you can get angry instead of sad, anger gets something done. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I remember thinking, I have to work this normal job, but I'm an able-bodied male. Like I'd rather just be homeless and fucking rob stores than fucking work. You know what I mean? So like you have to be a predator in the entrepreneur game. Yes. Right? Like we're still animals. We're still in the animal kingdom. And the people that are predators and go out and hunt what they want are likely to succeed. The guys that are like prey and they're kind of like, well, et cetera. Like so many people are indoctrinated into this boss mentality of like looking for some type of order and like some instruction to follow. The guys that run the world and succeed, we make the rules, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're like, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that. And that's what makes men most attractive to even women, bro. Oh. Like I remember when no girl would look my way, right? Because I wasn't capable in any way, shape, or form. I thought it started with physical. Mm-hmm. I got physically in shape, still nobody looking my way. Financially in shape, that's a different thing. And then status was like the final piece to the puzzle where, bro, people want somebody to follow by nature. Mm-hmm. A lot of people complain about the way the system's designed. If you can use the system to your advantage, then that's a different story. There's full-grown men right now. The gas prices are too high. Minimum wage needs to be raised. But you should be thinking, if minimum wage is $9 an hour, I can hire somebody, right? Like leverage is how you become successful too. Like, I mean, honestly, from 0 to 100,000 a month, you could do it yourself. If you have a high ticket offer, you're selling something expensive, you can do it yourself. If you want to scale past that, it's a game of leverage. Right now, I have systems running. I have people in my DMs that are typing, right? We may cut this out, but I have people on the phones that are calling people. I have people taking calls nonstop. I have back-end people that are serving the clients. I have my guys I work with one-on-one. But successful people, they build this machine that functions for them, whether they're there or away. And then they're doing stuff like podcasts and making money. Bro, why do you think billionaires make podcasts? Why don't you think like Jeff Bezos is fucking at the Amazon warehouse working hard? A lot of people think hard work is the key to success. When it's not, it's smart work.
Yes.
Right? Like I had friends who were like, oh, Vince, you have to work hard, bro. When we're 40, then we can be billionaires. I was like, motherfucker, are you stupid, bro? I was like, I ain't fucking working hard till I'm 40. Like most people are chained to poverty through inherited beliefs.
So true.
Their family members who aren't successful tell them how success works. They say, make a coffee at home instead of going to Starbucks and eventually you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't become a millionaire and buy a $3.5 million car by making coffee at home.
Yeah.
I made more money than I could spend by endlessly reinvesting into myself and my business until the fucking cup was just overflowing. You know what I mean? So to summarize that, offense is how you win. Being a predator is how you win. Hunting is how you win.
Yeah.
And a simple quote that will help everybody watching this is if you want to make money, think of how you can provide service to the world. Money is simply a scoreboard and a measure of service. The people that get offended by that don't understand that.
Right.
They're kind of like, oh, well, they just have money and they're showing off. Rich people are more service than people who aren't rich.
Right.
And money is like a universal principle of that. Money has no real value, bro. It's a fucking piece of paper. It's not even attached to the fucking gold index anymore.
Right.
But money is a spiritual symbol of that dude does good for the world.
Right.
And that's the name of the game, right?
And you know what's crazy? I figured that money flows to the people. Like you said, right? Work hard, also work smart and work hard. I remember, right? Like you have a team. The reason I am where I am is because I found a mentor. And this could be someone in your team, right? You got a lot of freaking bright guys on your team, bro.
Yeah.
They're going to get so much further ahead if they're smart, right? Because I remember when I was learning from my mentor, who was a billionaire, dude, I was the guy in the room. I wasn't just doing my job. I was thinking, I was like, okay, shit, how is he doing this? What systems, what processes does he have in place? Why is he doing this? Why is he telling people this? And why is he doing this? How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he communicate? Dude, I became a sponge. And if you can become a sponge in the right environment, not be a sponge at McDonald's. You don't want to learn from those people. Find someone, right? Model, mimic, master. Find someone and just be a sponge, dude. I remember, dude, from the company that I used to work at, dude, there's a handful of people out of like hundreds of people that actually went outside and built their own company and became successful. Why? Because they were just there doing their job. They were doing a task over and over and over again. What I did is I did my task flawlessly or else I would have been cut. But dude, I was in the background. I was like, dude, let me analyze this shit. Let me look at this and let me implement it into my company. And that's the secret why I've been able to scale so rapidly. Right? And dude, I want to touch on one point, right? Because you like to view life as a GTA, right? I like to view life as chess, right? In chess, you have your pawns, you have your horses, you have your bishops, you have your king, and you have your queen. A lot of guys, I see them complaining all the time, right? Maybe you do too. Well, it's not fair that girls could just go to nice restaurants. It's not fair that girls could just go on a freaking nice yacht. And they don't realize that, bro, in a game of chess, the queen could zip from across the board to another side of the board. Right? But the king, it moves one piece at a time. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, okay, what's the most valuable piece in the chess, right? Is it the queen? Is it the pawn? No, it's the king, right? Why? Because the king is the one that controls the environment. So instead of bitching and complaining, well, that's not fair that this girl could be on this yacht. Oh my God, she's a freaking hoe because she's here. Bro, just take full responsibility and be like, dude, you're just playing chess in level 1 and she jumped to another board as she should. And now she's playing chess at level 10. It's no one's fault but yourself.
Yeah, you know, my mom used to tell me, she'd say, Vincent, life is unfair. I'd be like, Mom, it's not fair that, there's some kids that are born rich and there's this and that. She's like, Vincent, life is unfair. Get over it. Yeah. So my mom was like the man of the house to a certain degree where I wasn't allowed to think dumb shit. I wasn't allowed to have a weak mentality. I remember telling my mom after my dad passed away, like, Mom, I'm depressed. She was like, Vincent, you're not depressed. You're currently unhappy. Get over it. Like, bro, a mom, like for something like as simple as a fucking death, like something that you had every reason to be depressed by, My mom was like, you can't think like that.
Dude,
But I don't know, the guys that say like, oh man, well, women can do this and that, I think it's a longer reward, but it's more of a reward to be a
100%.
successful man, right?
100%.
Now, within reason, right? If you have control over that, like my girl's living in a near utopia where she drives like a sparkly pink Urus and fucking makes content all day and goes and hangs out with her friends and like goes on vacations at the nicest hotels and the nicest spots. And I think that women to some degree are designed to like pleasure. Men are designed to like purpose, right? Like if I'm not on my purpose, if I'm not grinding or working towards something, you could put me in the nicest place in the world, Dubai, on the Palm Jumeirah, right? Fucking everything that you want, mansions, convenience, etc. If I'm not working, I don't feel fulfilled. You know what I mean? And that's a character trait that I know that I have. And a lot of people confuse that with me, right? They go, oh, this guy's money focused. He's money hungry. He's obsessed with this, that. I'm obsessed with growth itself because I know at any level, if I'm not growing, I'm gonna hate myself as a byproduct. And that's why I know it's inevitable that if I stay on the earth long enough, I'm going to end up a billionaire. You know what I mean? Right. It's not like by chance. It's like all I do is fucking work over and over again. I just left the gym before that business meeting. After that business meeting, it's like fucking 10 after this. You know what I mean? But I'm grinding nonstop till 4 a.m. every single morning. And it's funny because I wake up at 12, bro. Like a lot of people think that success is like one way or the other, but like I wake up at 12, bro. Like, what do people tell you? To become a millionaire, wake up at 6. I don't wake up at fucking 6, but with my waking hours, I do everything that I can do.
100%.
And every single day, I'm like, damn, I don't even know how I did this much today. And I'm going to fall asleep. I'm going to do the same exact thing again. Like, I wake up, I brush my teeth. I'm like, fuck. Then I get on meetings and the day just flows. And all I do every single day is build my system bigger and bigger.
Right.
Right, that's the name of the game.
And most people don't realize, bro, most people want to get out of a 9 to 5 because they're like, oh, I work too many hours. They don't realize that once you become a business owner, once you become an entrepreneur, dude, you're never going to stop working. It's just a different type of work because instead of building someone else's dream, you're building your dream, right? You're growing it. You're scaling it. You want to exit it. You want to sell it. You want to pass it on to generations. You can do whatever you want. So that purpose, that fire inside of you, bro, never goes away. I've never met a successful person that does not work. Every successful person that I met, dude, they never stop working. And that's what makes them successful. Like a lot of maybe people watching here, bro, they're just sitting down watching videos and then they're going to go watch another video. Maybe they're going to watch a cat video or a video of freaking ASMR, right? They're going to just completely click out of this and they're not going to be like, damn, if these guys could do it, let me click the link in the bio. Let me see what they're talking about. Let me see what's their philosophy. Because at the end of the day, bro, you can make excuses or you can make money, but you guys can't make both, right? If you want to be successful, you have all the tools, right? You have already, when you started your company, there was no AI, right?
No.
Me neither, bro. Now with AI, dude, it's literally, if you're not successful, it is your own fault. It is your own laziness. You have AI, you have a human, like you have a God brain in your pocket and they're not utilizing it. They're searching, oh, what to do after a breakup. Dude, make money after a breakup. Shit. Make money, keep on making money so you can build that dream life. At the end of the day, bro, you only get one shot, right? Money, dude, money comes and goes, bro. If this shit gets totaled, fuck, we'll buy more, right? It's part of the game. But guess one thing that's never going to come back, and that is time, right? Time is the only thing that's never going to come back. So final thoughts. What would you tell the people that are watching this? The final thing to be like, to kind of force them to take action. Because a lot of people, bro, I would say 10% of these people are going to take action and the other 90% are going to go away, maybe watch a SpongeBob episode after this.
Yeah, I think you have to have a definite goal and a definite purpose, right? A lot of people are working on something that's undefined. There's a quote that a ship that has no destination point, no wind is favorable. So it starts by setting a clear and specific goal. Now, after that, off the topic of time, a lot of people don't understand, even if they don't have money, they're investors because they have time. You have to ask yourself, how am I investing my time? Is it sports that's not going to make me rich? Is it crying over some bitch that's not going to make me rich? Is it complaining about some bitch that's not going to make me rich? Complaining and hating the world when the world how it is, right? But invest your time into things that will give you a positive ROI. For me, anything self-improvement related is a positive ROI. For me, if something's expanding my life physically, mentally, or financially, then I'm all for it. And that's what I spend my time doing. So I invest that first. Now, once you invest your time into that, you're going to have some extra money.
Right.
Now, once you have the extra money, it's the same exact thing. Dump it all back into you and your business until you make more money that you can spend in it. Everybody watching this is only, I'd say, 2 to 3 years from literally grinding so hard that they wake up and make more money than they just spent.
100%.
Like that part isn't far. I mean, after that, it's just passion.
100%.
After that, I don't even know why the fuck I want to see the number go up, and that's
Yeah,
why
it's a game.
But it becomes
game.
excess, but that's good, right?
Yeah.
Because the more excess I have, the more people I can inspire, and it just the ball keeps rolling.
Yeah. And also, guys, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't know where you want to be in the next 5 years, hate to break it to you, but you're already there, right? You got to have a destination, right? If you don't have a destination, like Vincent was saying, you're going to be lost. You're going to be purposeless. Now, how do you find the destination? How do you find the purpose? Ask yourself, if Jesus Christ, God, came down and said, hey, Tabare, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? I'll make it happen. I'll grant you the wish. What would it be? What would it be? Right? And now, if it's like something like drawing and all this, yeah, you can do that, but get fucking rich first. Right? You guys, you cannot go ahead. There's a lot of people that have SaaS companies. Why? Because they just want to go out there and be fucking Buddhist. Right? They just want to go and walk with fucking no shoes on. But they had to do level 1 first. They had to get rich first. Everything you want to do, it could be painting, it could be building fucking Legos. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Just get rich first and then do that later. Fuck emotions, right? I say this all the time, bro. Emotions for little kids and females, right? For guys, dude, emotion, dude. When I'm angry, I'm working. When I'm sad, I'm working. When I'm happy, I'm working. When I'm depressed, I'm working. I don't even get depressed. Depression is not real. But any emotion, I'm always working. I know what I got to do, and I got to keep pushing forward. So if you guys could take that one piece of advice and implement it, who knows? Maybe in 1 to 2 years, you might be sitting here with us, and we might be smoking cigars, and we might have your Lambo right there. So guys, where can they find you, Vincent?
Yeah, Vincent Fisher _ VincentFisher _ on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Let's go, guys. For me, it's Tabare Sotomayor. Follow me. And dude, Vincent, it's a pleasure, bro. We got to run it up part 3 again.
Man, let's
All
get
right,
it, bro.
Let's roll, guys. Bam.